Should I just check whether we are okay?
Um,
We're live. Hey everyone.
we're not yet.
No, we are live.
Are we live? Oh my
Oh
god,
yeah.
we are live, and we are live on. Oh, we're live on Instagram too. I see. Which is,
Oh,
I made it. I did it. I did it. I
it
connected the
says
stuff.
of live.
Oh, I'm so tech savvy. I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. No, but it worked. So, hey, LinkedIn folks and Instagram folks and somewhere else. I think it's right. So X doesn't work. So I'm going to remove that. Okay, that's the one. So we are here for our Think Before You AI um, live session, and I'm very excited about that. So, Anupa, would you like to kick us off and talk? First of all, I think it would be nice to kind of give us a little bit of a context of what we are going to be talking about and why, and to take us through the topic of the day.
Thanks, Anna. My name is Anupa. I'm a service designer and I'm currently working with service design and emerging technology. One of the, I feel, the easiest forms of interaction with technology is our association and execution with ChatGPT. We've all done it. I don't think, I mean, I would be surprised if we find people who are here who haven't worked with ChatGPT. It's a great way to kind of frame your thoughts. That's what I thought. And then suddenly, day before yesterday, I saw this analysis by MIT, which says that ChatGPT is actually making us think much slower because we're so dependent. Not that we needed chat gpt for that. I was telling Anna about it. But it's a still, I feel, an aid and a tool that we could use, not as not as a crutch, but something that can really help us go beyond our thinking capacity, but keeping our own self in mind. And the reason why this started was, I was doing a workshop with these under privileged girls, and they wanted to know about chat gpt. And my first conversation with them was that we need to make sure that we are in command of what we create on ChatGPT. We know we're not so dependent that whatever comes out of ChatGPT is what we use and interact with. And that's when this conversation started with Anna, that how do we think before we even interact with AI? Because it's like a horse, that you have to train the horse or interact with, you know, with the other element to actually make it work for you. So yeah, so we've started.
So it's interesting. Hey, everyone, by the way, who's tuning in. Um,
Megan's like, I want I'm going to count how many times you say the word prompt. Hopefully it will be not prompt, but it will be think. That's
yeah,
what
exactly.
we'll be
Well,
using more.
so it's a little bit on topic, really. So what Megan is referring to is the conversation I had with her yesterday, and which is about how um, AI or ChatGPT or any large language model you're using to kind of create these. I don't want to say the word now.
Maybe we should
Assignments.
think of
These
another word instead
yeah
of that
to
word.
to kind of tell your ChatGPT what to do. That it changes our language. It changes the way we speak. And there was an article about this, how it influences our language, and which is so confrontational, really. So, okay, I'm just going to use the word prompt anyway. So there you go. You put it in my head now, so now I. But no, seriously, the word like prompt, for instance, I use it out of the AI context, even just for when it has nothing to do with ChatGPT. I'll still use that word, and that just struck me like, as like so funny that I was never. That's not something I would ever do. It's just not a word I've ever used in my life. Now it's logical when new technology. I mean, I've never used the word iPhone before there was an iPhone either, right? So or smartphone, so language, but language creates reality. Language creates sort of a it's more important than we think. So it actually it is quite influencing how we think and what we think. So the language of it is interesting, and in a way that's part of what we're talking about, right? So I mean, we're talking about prompt engineering, right? And all of a sudden that's like that's something you should kind of become, because that's people. If you're a prompt engineer, you're going to make a lot of money because whatever, right? So there's this whole thing around it, which I think already is that hype already gone? I don't even know, because it's such a mess right now of people claiming to be experts and people seeming to kind of I don't know. And if you read articles around, like the consultancies, the big consultancies selling their AI wisdom and expertise to companies, but it actually turns out that they all know exactly the same, which is not a lot. We are really in this extremely important moment for us. And I'm not saying like this is like some kind of revolutionary, because revolutionary times we go through them all the time. Like when the internet was born, when we got email, when we got smartphones, when we got social media. I mean, this is something that happens. It's another tool, it's another technology. It's going to change a lot, but it is going to change a lot. So how do we adapt? How do we use that? And how do we not forget that we're human beings? How do we not forget that we are we are people? We're not going anywhere. That's keep reminding people, human beings are not going anywhere, right? You have to still decide on what you want. What do you want? What do you want to? What do you want to do? What do you want to do with this tool? What do you want to achieve? Are you going to let AI decide for you and for your company? I don't think so. I hope not, because it can't, right? So it's such an interesting time where we don't know. It's not like I'm not gonna. I don't know. I know people who are very smart who say smart things about this. I know people that inspire me, and but I haven't heard anyone claim that they're an expert that I then trusted to be an expert. I trust the people who say we don't know, right? Let's look at this. Let's discover it. Let's do sort of something that makes sense. And so Anupa, I think what you've been talking about in this, and that's what we're doing, right? Think before you AI. The whole idea is, what do you mean? Think. We have to think before you use AI. Meaning, you can ask ChatGPT like, give me an answer or give me an idea. Sure, but okay, that's going to make us stupid, first of all, and it's going to make everything similar too, because
Yeah.
my son, my 13-year-old son, he has the same technology as everyone else on the planet, and I'm pretty sure he's going to figure out how to use it really smartly and maybe start his $1 billion company in the future. But I mean, the technology is not the differentiator, because we all have it. So what's the differentiator? And I think that's people. And anyway, so what are we going to do about it, Anupa?
Okay, no pressure on that. I really liked how you stressed on the fact that it's very, I feel at the end of the day, technology is very people centric, which is something at times when we see, generative, technology like this, we feel that the power of use is on the technology, but it's actually not. That curation, the curiosity, the iterative behavior that we have towards technology has to come from us. And I think that that's where today we are here, is that how do you bring that thought process even before you interact with technology? Because there has to be few things that we would talk about today. One is clarity, One is storytelling, and the other one is outcome. So these are the three things that I feel are very important when you're creating a narrative that you would ask the technology to help you. And the thing is that what I feel with organizations, or even let's say AI centric companies, is that they create a system, right? And I feel that there is a progression of behavior in the way it's used, whether it's beginner, intermediate, or advanced. But a lot of people, we're just there in the beginner, because we are so used to the technology telling us how the progression is there, that a lot of us don't even go unless we're very keen on understanding how it's used. uh, you know how can it actually work for us, unless we go through tutorials or the self generated technology. I don't think many people understand the use, and that's where we come in as humans, to say that okay, this is what we need to do. So let me share our presentation, which it's quite simple and interactive. So if anybody wants to join along, get grab a piece of pen and paper. I think it will be easier for you to carry on with what we're doing. We're not going to start a lot with what is AI. That's a completely different context. But we're going to be understanding how can we use, let's say, prompt engineering in AI, and what it does. So Anna, yeah, let's make this conversation interactive. I think that the first thing we can talk about is that what does it make us do? We learn, we reason, we problem solve, right? This whole action is, it's like a process where you have a idea or a need, which has to be problem solved. So it's almost like creating a brief, like for designers. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Um, no, no, no. That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Thanks. That's yeah. So yeah, I have a lot to. So no, please go because I know what you're going to do after this. So we'll.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to run out of time if I start talking.
Okay. So we came up with this idea of like, what is it that learn? How do we interact with learned knowledge? Because ChatGPT is already formulating a lot of, it's knowledge base, right? And our interaction is to create that storytelling in the way that it works. So there are a few things that, this is a map that has been released by ChatGPT recently, showing us what is it that it's used for primarily. So it is either for practical guidance, either it's for specific information, on a certain topic, or how to do something. How do I create like a master class? How do I write a story? Something like this. So these are kind of the things that we need, along with presentations which are looking into generative images and videos and writing, right? So I think these are the main things. It's quite interesting to see even relationships have come into the graph. So there is a need that has to be, created in a way, like we can generate a response. Now how do we do that? Which is what we're going to which we're going to understand today. If we have this idea of this prompt is basically pushing someone or something to initiate a response, right? So if we have this very basic way of asking, like write a story, or create a outline of a master class, it's going to just give us what it knows, or it's going to give us the information that we've already typed in or asked earlier as an accumulative generated knowledge, and give xyz. It will not be precise. So that's when what I spoke about clarity of thought comes in. The storytelling, clarity and storytelling are two key points, because how do you know what you want? How do you create a narrative for it so it can generate the most effective and most conducive outcome? Yeah. Anna, you know what's going to happen. What were your thoughts when when we were discussing this?
Yeah. So I also just wanted to kind of answer or respond to Stefan's comment,
Okay,
which is
great.
not really quite, it's more like a sentence. The importance is to teach students to see AI as a thinking partner rather than a replacement for thought. I
Yes.
think I just want to kind of acknowledge that, and I think that's the if you know we're if you think about education and schools, again, like I said, we're in this really interesting moment in time where we have to adapt, we have to change, we have to do sort of we get confronted with sort of a new technology, new tool, but it changes things. And in this case, I think training, education, schools, universities, I think they have a big task. And it's going to be tough because they really have to, not just them, by the way, everyone, all companies as well and organizations, but especially it starts at school. It starts when people are kind of in their formative years. Basically, how do we deal with this technology? And AI is a thinking partner, someone who kind of elevates your critical thinking, who elevates your creative thinking. And I think that is the most important thing. How do we do that? How is it going to help us? Now, I am both. I'm actually quite an optimist, to be quite honest. I can be quite cynical about this things. I know, I know, but I'm actually quite an
Yeah.
optimist. I believe very much in human creativity. I believe very much in that. I used to, my first job as a photographer, and when I remember the camera I used to use with film and everything manual, and the camera I have today, which is like filled with AI. It doesn't, and everybody has an amazing camera on their phone. You know, how many amazing photographers are there? I mean, not more than there used to be, because it's what you do with the tool and what you do with it. So I really believe in the human ingenuity and creativity, and we'll figure it out. And so um, yeah, but I think we'll go through a moment in time where we're going to see a lot of, you know, um, junk. It's a lot of bad products and the bad writing and we're going to see that, and then I think we're going to figure it out. I think so.
No,
And
and that has happened. The reason why I started this session saying that get grab a pen and paper, because what we're going to create right now doesn't necessarily need chat GPT, because what is it that you're going to ask? And I feel with technology, the ability to question is kind of slowing down. Even as as creative minds, or even I've heard quite a frightful story where somebody was asked to was laid off because they said that they found somebody junior and they would use AI tools to create products. So they were downsizing with this kind of mindset, and I was like, that's kind of scary, because if you're so dependent on what technology will create for you, what is the quality of product experience? Even as designers, where do we draw the line? And I think that is where we need to always feel that like what the human intelligence has to offer cannot be replaced by technology at all. I mean, I still stand very firmly with that, is that yes, there are technologies in AI which are making models that can train those models to think like humans and even better. But still, how do you even train that model to think as you or even better is a question mark, right? So till then, how do we empower ourselves to interact with technology is also a question that we have to embrace. So okay, going to our next it's kind of an exercise where we which will lead up to the framework that we will use today. So why don't we start with what would you like, what kind of prompt, or if you have another word for prompt that you'd like to use, what would you like to create? It could be anything. It could be a task, it could be a workflow, it could be, I don't know, dinner ideas. Yeah, why don't you just jot down on a post-it, or anywhere, like what would you like to create? Anna, do you want to do this on Miro?
I'll try to open that as well if it doesn't kill my
Okay.
Wi-Fi. Um, yeah.
Okay. So why don't I say like a master class for, I don't know, master class um, for okay, for founders. Okay.
All right. Just made something.
Okay, for the
Busy.
elderly. Okay,
There
fine.
you go.
That's great. I think
Yeah.
this is good. Okay, so now we've created like some sort of outline, like a brief of the intent that we're going to be creating, and what is it the outcome of this intent that you would like to achieve. You know, so let's say in my case I've said masterclass for founders, and here I would say. For founders to understand, I don't know, strategies
Users.
is better. Yeah.
You know what is really funny right now is
What?
that there are two people with heavy dyslexia writing
Why? Is
writing
there something wrong?
the type. No, 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 no. It's just that I'm just realizing that we both
Yeah.
have dyslexia, and the one thing I try to kind of not do is write in public. And now we're going live on, and so it's fun. It's just funny to me. So it's like
Listen,
that's so funny. All right,
yeah.
cool.
I
So
mean, I think we've come a long way in our process. So, yeah, I think this is a success that you can be out there and in public, and be worryless. So, okay.
um,
Um, yeah. Yeah. Do you want to? Yeah. Yes, and also if you'd like, if anybody is like really interested in this, we'd happy to send you like a PDF of the framework for you to use. This is just one kind of framework that I've created. There are various versions of it for different needs, so it's not that this is set in stone. It can be different versions of how do you create that prompt. So this is just one of them, and yeah, we're happy to share it with you.
yeah. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm focusing on the elderly with an eating disorder. So people who are
Okay.
when they get old, sometimes they stop eating
Okay.
enough, and they get have a bit of a problem with food and eating. Yeah, that's my project.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. So now I will just explain what this framework is. Okay. So in this frame, you have, okay, let me just actually just type this. Okay, so the way that this works is that we have built a kind of a structure that has various components. Now, when you're creating a prompt like this that has a an intent and an outcome, one does not need to use all of these values. You can pick and choose what is necessary for you, but the more detailed you can create, even for, let's say, when you create a prompt the next time, the you're training chat gpt to think like you. And I think that's also important, that it we just don't stop at, okay, stop at this, like what I had created, a master class for founders to understand strategies better. Okay, I think that will just give you one scope of conversation. Whereas if you look at, let's say, we start from type is, what do we create is that it is who you are and what you're wanting to create, and a situation in a frame. So it actually starts by defining the need in a slot. So ChatGPT knows that, okay, the definitions are now created in categories. So when it searches or creates whatever it does through the modeling, there are already set functions that it has to carry out. So under type, or you can define who you are. So, and as an actor, so you can say I'm a service designer, I'm a storyteller, I'm an innovator, whoever you are, because it's setting the voice from your persona. Okay. Then is that, what is it? What action are you wanting to create? So it's basically a verb. Here I said, as a designer, I would like to create. So create becomes my action. What am I creating? I would like to create a toolkit. Okay, a toolkit. So that's the type, that's the form of whatever you're trying to create for a focus group. Now the thing is that one can say that I only want to not go beyond what I'm creating, because I don't want chat gpt to be so defined. I can only stick to the first row, where it gives you something general, and then you take that forward as an outline and you recreate. But for people who would like to be more specific in what they want, can go further. So once you've created the type, you can create, you can look at the user. So who are you building this for? So or what kind of role are they going to perform in the persona? So it could be for patients who will be participants in a focus group. Now I have added this, I've made it more detailed. In your case, it could just be users. You're just focusing on the target group to see what chat gpt comes up with. You can define the age, you can define the characteristics of the persona. You can also add any other, let's say, behavioral patterns that make you understand who the target group is. So that's second. The third is that, what is the reason you're creating the let's say the situation, the environment, right? So if you have said that you are creating this toolkit for a focus group or for a master class, there is always a setting that has been created, right? So you can say that the context would be that this focus group is being created for people who face billing issues during an operation. So you're setting the context to which the user is already going through, is going through a lived experience, so it becomes much more meaningful. Then you could add things like environment, which are other variables, that things that might not be there. Saying that, okay, this focus group is about creating, which will help with understanding their pain points, grievances, basically more detailed points, that in the way that you structured your situation. Understanding hospital mandates. So you are creating a scope where the perspectives are becoming more empathetic, are becoming more human centered, and you're actually co-creating with let's say the what your lived experience and technology. So it's not only them, it won't be chat gpt giving you instances of, oh, this is where you could maybe use this. You're telling them that, okay, this is my type, this is where the user, this is how the reason why I'm doing this, this is the lived experience or the environment that it's going to be being that it's going to live in. And then what is it, is the outcome, like what is the purpose that you want to fulfill, which is what we had done earlier. And here it says that it I wanted to create tools, a toolkit which has 6 frameworks, which will be xyz. And please add in a icebreaker, engagement conversation. So you're actually defining the structure of your situation, or the actual outcome, right? So you're telling it, okay, as an outcome, now that I have the people, the context, the environment, this is what it's supposed to give me. So and that's what you've defined. And at the end, it could be, let's say, a category of, let's say, an urban setting, of, let's say, it's for like a healthcare project, for urban cities. The category can also be defined in the environment, because that's where you're adding the variables, or at the end. So this basically sums up how you can use prompt thinking, which is more than just writing what is a story, to, I would like to write a story which is fiction based with xyz character, this is what it does, blah blah blah. So it gives you a whole detailed outline of what it does. So that's what I had created here. You can see. Yeah. Any questions? I know I'm just going through the
Oh,
steps.
no, it's yeah. So I think it's really interesting how what you're doing really is creating a process, um, which I think can be really helpful for people who are sort of, especially if you start out using tools like ChatGPT or any LLM, to really, in a way, kind of to force you to think, because it, our brains are lazy, right? We always want to cut corners
Yeah.
because our brains are thinking, it takes so much energy, so it's so much easier to kind of skip all this, and just to kind of go straight for the outcome and not do the work. But the obviously the value is actually in the journey, in the work, in the thinking, in the kind of the struggling with things and trying to
Yeah.
kind of formulate it well. I
Yeah.
You kind of hear with this kind of, I would really, so we just talked about education, but this idea of teaching people in general and students in particular, sort of a structure, a structured way, so they can actually make sure that the outcome is something that they are actually, that's really helpful to them, and they are controlling it, and they are kind of the ones making the decisions, and judge, and also judging it according to what they are actually trying to achieve. Something I would, I like to add myself is like the sort of this idea of the devil's advocate. I always kind of, which you will be later in the process, but so just as an idea that for people who are listening, I mean, if you haven't tried this before, one of the things that you can do as well is just ask your whatever LLM you're using, but your AI assistant, to challenge you and to come up with ideas why your idea is bad, or why what the negative
Yeah.
consequences
Exactly.
could be in the future, or what could be, so really have it challenge you, instead of kind of feeding you with all these wonderful kind of little kind of things like, oh, you're so great and it's such a great idea, this is brilliant thought, amazing. I don't know if you ever read these articles about people who kind of think they invented this amazing thing, or where actually it's just ChatGPT kind of pleasing them all the time, which that's a
That's
bit.
also exactly, that's, I feel that is something that we fail to address, is the kind of glorification chat gpt creates for us. Is it
Clarification.
a cloud? is it like a bubble? Do we need to snap out of it? So I'm going to add that in this framework as feedback. Okay. Um,
By the way, I want to kind of acknowledge. Manuel said something that I really liked. So might seem fair to say that AI could be the thing that unlocks student-centric education at scale, where teachers can focus more on student well-being and holistic development instead of knowledge gatekeeping. I think this is an important point. It's not just, by the way, this is not just for students. This is so I, my example was sort of in healthcare. I think technology should free us up to do the more important things. So if you think about this, now if you are you can Anupa, your kind of your process, and if there's a process and there are these tools, and the knowledge is available, it's everywhere. It's on your phones, or you can be the human knowledge is at your fingertips, right?
yeah, yeah,
So being able to not being the gatekeeper of knowledge, but actually being the one that is really taking care of uh, learning and liking to learn and learning to learn and being curious and being open and being etc. So all those way more important things for students, asking questions, feeling free to ask stupid questions and be critical, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If that's your focus as an educator, I mean, then LLMs, ChatGPT, AI, whatever, Midjourney, it could be an amazing tool to free up people to focus on the more important things, which is about behavior and mental health.
yeah, yeah. And this exercise is definitely not, you don't need ChatGPT for this. This framework can be done on pen and paper. It can be like a mini workshop, even for, let's say, designers or who are trying to, make uh, employees within an organization understand a certain, let's say, product. So how does the, because it comes on prompt generation, AI agents also react to that. So how do you use a framework like this to build conversation? And it can just be a post-it session, and then later, once the final prompt is created, that can be used to generate the structure, which again can be re-evaluated through, like, let's say, the last process could be feedback, right? And then and then it could become into a larger conversation. But I think we, as people, we need to know where to drop that line. I don't know, I'm really taken up, but it's not that we didn't know what chat gpt was doing, but now that I'm like, oh my god, MIT is saying that we're becoming, you know becoming slower. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen to me. And how do we safeguard ourselves from such behaviors which become so inherent to who we are? It's like drinking water. I feel that's going to be the way that we use AI in the future.
Yeah, here's that very. It's interesting. Stefan was responding to our being our dyslexia, which is a yeah. So I mean, in a way, that's a nice example of how AI can really help people with with a with something like dyslexia. It's a very straightforward thing, really. I have dyslexia. ChatGPT is very helpful to, it understands what I want to say, whether I misspell or not. It's really good at that. But then there's the danger again of starting to rely on that when actually
Yeah,
my dyslexia
exactly.
is
Yeah,
also
exactly. Agree.
but dyslexia is actually part of my creativity. I learned to write in a very creative way because I always had to kind of rethink my spelling because of my dyslexia. And sometimes because I didn't know how to write a certain word, I had to figure out how to write it without using that specific word that I didn't know how to spell or something like that. So I became really good at creative writing because my limitations. So limitations are often ways to, and trying to kind of figure out how to deal with limitations are a way to become creative. If you take away all these limitations and you make your kind of, you make the sort of the difficult path smooth and easy, and you don't have to think about it. And I think, will we ever end up with people like Van Gogh, for instance? Will we ever do that? Because I think,
Yeah,
if there are no limitation, I think we all end up, because with ChatGPT, I can write exactly the same as anyone who has ChatGPT. I think that's the whole point of this, is that you're going to have the same tone of voice, the same. So I can
yeah,
try to kind of figure it out and make it give it my voice. It's still kind of, you can read it and you go like,
yeah,
yeah, it's the same junk, really. Take it, go through the effort, and go through the pain of thinking. Now, I'm not saying not use it, but be careful using it. If it's something personal you're writing, if it's not, we're not talking about writing a novel or writing poetry, right?
yeah,
Don't use ChatGPT or anything to write poetry, please, because if you do it, it's really, really boring and not worth it. But if you're thinking of using the knowledge that is at your fingertip, human knowledge that is at your fingertip, how can we distract that knowledge that is useful to us? How can we take that bit? Because everything's in that thing, right? Everything is in that AI available for you. You just have to be aware of, how do I get that bit of information out of there that I can use so I can really help people? Because in the end, it's always going to be about people. People are not going anywhere. I mean, businesses, we're not kind of creating companies, that are run with AI that is serving AI. AI is not going to buy AI product. I mean, it's people, right? So that's, sorry, I'm going to stop getting like, "Arr."
no, I think it has value. I just feel that we must be very conscious of what value it brings us, that we should have that clarity. Even if we get clarity with what is given to us, I feel that we should be at a place that that definition just doesn't overtake us, rather than it being, it should be an assistive, you know uh, assistive tool as it is. It shouldn't be something that we're so dependable on that we lose the track. That's why having the clarity and the storytelling of what it is important, for whoever uses it. So yeah, that's where we are today.
Okay. Have you? Okay, I really enjoy this, because I think these are the conversations we should have.
Yeah,
I think these are the conversations we should have at scale, really, as much as possible, to kind of just keep thinking about. We have this technology, we have this ability to kind of use all that knowledge and everything we have at our fingertips. Okay, so great. Now what? What do you do? What are we going to do with it? And how are we going to kind of figure out? And the thing is that I've been kind of working with and promoting design thinking for I don't know how long. Um, Design thinking was sort of a mindset. It turned into kind of a very linear approach right now. So, but it's a mindset of adaptability and saying, what is the question? What is it? What is what exactly do we want? And then you kind of look for a tool. I think this kind of skill of adaptability, this skill of creative thinking and critical thinking, this skill of being able to navigate chaos, because this is a really chaotic time we're living in, and that skill, I think that's so important. And so we go from chaos to structure. And so what you're trying to do here is saying, okay, we have all this chaos, here's a structure that we can use, so it becomes more meaningful, so the outcomes become more meaningful, the outcomes become more something that we can actually use. So I think that I really like that idea of, I mean, I'm not a structured person, I like chaos, but I like chaos because it allows you to see certain things that are disconnected and how to kind of keep connecting things in different ways. I like that process of seeing patterns. And in a way, what you're doing is saying, okay, we have this chaos. Here's a structure, and and I think that's the way forward. People like me are like, I like chaos, but I know people also need structure, and I like that very much. So thank you for allowing us at least to think about a specific structure. And by the way, if people want to have you can just ping me, or Anupa. We can send you the kind of that. We can,
The framework. Yeah,
yeah, right.
the framework definitely, and maybe that could be like a call to action, is that maybe people would like to create their own frameworks or try out our frameworks and send it to us. We're happy to create a community that is building on this, just to see what else is possible. How do we make like this, uh, you know um,
Sorry, I
interesting.
might interrupt. So I just played.
Even I'm trying to read what Manuel
You're
said.
like, what
Yes.
does that say? I think you
um,
actually, by the way, I'm not going to be, I'm going to be a little bit cynical here. Having AI as your CEO, I think that is fine. To be quite honest, I mean, I know there are brilliant CEOs out there. I know they are there, but in general, uh, what maybe this AI CEO will actually stay for more than 2 years. That'd be awesome, because because otherwise they're gone, and the new one is coming, and it's like, so hey, that might give some stability. Who
No, and
knows?
also in terms of, let's say, budgets, when you have founders creating projects, maybe if it's something like this, just to get people started, who knows, I feel it might be helpful, but um, because some people have no way of finding human resources, finding good, kind, and I would say, and effective human resources for projects is difficult. So yeah, these experiments definitely sound,
Oh,
you know yeah, who
go
knows,
for it. Go.
for whoever it works for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
so
love it.
yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe we can create some sort of, maybe if people are interested, like a LinkedIn group or something like that, where people can share resources, insights, just to see that how, like how we can go beyond just AI.
Yeah,
I'm sure our design community has a lot to say. So yeah, waiting to hear about that.
yes, exactly. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye LinkedIn, thanks for being here listening to us,
Yeah,
banter.
yeah. Bye,
Okay,
bye, Instagram.
bye.
And,
Bye.
Simo, now you're responding to us. That you're always late.
Okay. Uh,
Okay, last comment. And then we're really gonna say goodbye. At least AI can be appreciative and empathetic in many cases, more than us humans. Would love to be led by a CEO. Oh, okay. Um, all right. Yeah. Okay. This is your, yeah. Okay. We still have clients, so I'm not gonna.
yeah.
This is being recorded, so I'm going to be very political here. But
Yeah.
my point is that these are experiments. I I think we should all watch and learn from. We are as a humans, as human species, as people, we're so creative in trying stuff out, whether they're bad ideas or good ideas.
Yeah.
I would say, go in and check out these things, check out these experiments, learn from them, be curious, be open minded. Don't close these doors for, oh, I don't like this, or this is stupid,
Yeah.
or whatever. doesn't matter. Just as long as it's not hurting people, as long as it is not evil. Let me put it that way. It is interesting. It is, it's just really interesting. So that, I think that's the mindset of any creative person, and we are all creatives. So be open minded, explore, learn. Let's share these things when we can. And yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
definitely. Okay. Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Bye.